My name is Carl Angelo, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live. Stream my album SILAB on all streaming platforms, and check the movie out on YouTube. Keep the fire, respect the hustle.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I'm hanging out with Carl Angelo, and dude, it's been quite the year for you, man. Like when I first saw your music, hit you up, you had like less than 2,000 followers, and it's
Crazy.
been less than a month, or maybe exactly a month, and now you're at that 40K mark. There's so much traction going on with your music right now. Like, what has these last like kind of weeks been like for you as an artist that you've been trying to promote this music?
It hasn't been. It didn't feel real. It still doesn't feel real to me, only because I've been looking at the insights of where the video has been blowing up and where I get my most views from, and it's from LA, the Philippines, and some parts of Africa. And when I'm at home in Seattle with my wife and nobody knows out there what's going on, it kind of throws me for a loop because I'm living my same regular life, and I'm blowing up on the internet in other places. So, yeah, I've just been transitioning into this new place and doing my best to maneuver with it.
Yeah, that's cool. And the fact that this album was out in 2023, and when you created this album, it was, I mean, you were going through a lot of different changes in your life, a lot of personal changes. So as an artist, like trying to be creative, but still be able to be there for your family, what was that process like, and how did you keep that kind of fire fueling that whole time?
I had a lot of support from my family, my parents especially, my siblings, cousins, grandparents, friends, and I was able to make everything happen while working a 9-to-5 and cutting off as much distractions as possible.
Yeah.
No matter how much those distractions might tempt me or anything like that, I did my best to stay focused because I knew in our community, at least the Phil-Am community here, or the entire hip hop scene, let alone, I didn't see any other artists try to make a musical album that was accompanied by a visual piece.
Yeah.
And the only people that I saw do that, for the most part, is Kanye, Beyonce. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody, but I always thought to myself, could I do that too with the resources and the networks that I have? And I gathered my small team of dedicated hard workers, and we made it happen, and we cut off all excuses.
Yeah, that's dope. And the fact that, I mean, you look at this film, you listen to the track, it doesn't sound like it's an independent artist. It sounds like a really intense produced, like there's a big team behind you. You've got labels, you got everything behind you. Like it's a full production. So when you were creating the writing process, or when you were doing the writing process for the tracks, were you already thinking about the concepts for these videos, or just the film in general, or is that something that came after?
A lot of the concepts and ideas of the album came from premeditation way before I even got into the studio.
Damn.
I knew back in 2017 when I was part of the Filipino American Student Association at CSUN, I joined this event that they host every year called PCN, Filipino Culture Night. And from there, it sparked something inside me because they played like Philippine indigenous music and stuff from back home. And I try to take that and fuse it with the music and culture that I was raised in LA, my American upbringing. So how could I put my Filipino traditions and my American upbringing together in music? And I started seeing these things, and I would come across real life experiences. I'm sure you've seen the skits from the album of me talking to multiple people, even if they're not Filipino.
Yeah.
And that was all inspired by real life experiences, real life people, and interactions that I've had with them. And I just thought to myself, that would be a nice skit in the album to also include not just Filipino people, but everybody for the most part. And I knew that the sound that I wanted to create, I'd have to really lock in with Kuya Marvs, who is the producer engineer for their entire album, by the way. And he's not Filipino, so I had to I'm sure you know,
and I love,
you know that.
Yes, absolutely. And I love, like, when you watch the film, like there's those parts in the studio where it's like let's sound like this Filipino culture
Right,
style,
right,
like this. And yeah, I totally get that. Like, and I love that you're bringing, just like you're doing it in the films, but also your team, you're bringing in different kind of cultures to be part of this whole project. For you, like being able to teach them about your culture while you're creating this project. Sorry. I feel like that is also a better way to kind of express yourself more, because maybe while you're teaching, you're remembering of something new that you had completely forgot about.
Yeah, 100%. So there was a lot of headbutting in the studio, a lot of disagreements, conflicts. It was a whole process. We had to make the music together and lock in. We did everything ourselves in this studio in a matter of a couple years, maybe 3-4 years. And then the videos, to answer your question from the last one, the concepts and the ideas of the videos, I had to think of those as I went along. But it came so naturally because the music, every time I heard the songs, I would see a certain vision in my head.
Yeah.
And I think, how could we bring that vision to life with Guya J, Jamar, who are the DP and the director of the album, by the way. And with Guya Marv's, we created the sound that we were looking for.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle of what he heard and what I heard, and something that we could both be proud of.
Yeah. What was the challenge that you had in the creative process, or even in the writing process of like the album? Maybe lyrically or maybe sonically, just because you do give us a lot of different sounds. I love how some of these songs blend into the next one before the song ends, and it's just, that's a beautiful thing to do. Like, I don't hear that happening in music. It did back in the day, but very, very in a small factor, but like it was kind of cool. It's like everything kind of segued to the next. So it didn't feel like I was finishing a track and then I was going to listen to another one. It felt like one full movie. Like, that's what it was like.
First off, I want to thank you for acknowledging that, because that was one of the challenges of how we can segue each track to the next.
Yeah.
We had to go through each track individually from beginning to end and made sure it lined up with the time so that when it plays on all streaming platforms, it goes nice and there's no hiccups or any pauses or anything like that. So blending all of those sounds together was a challenge because we didn't want to make anything seem unintentional or random. And then putting it in the movie was the easy part, because if the music flowed, it'll show through in the visuals as well. Oh, it was such a journey. Damn. Sometimes I be thinking, like, how did we do that? You know? Like,
I mean, I felt that way when I was like, literally when I heard your music, I was like, I saw that you posted about the film and I was like, I got to check this out. So I literally sat on my couch from start to finish. And then I watched it twice and I was like, this is so good. Like, this is so good. And it's not even like you're doing this at home or you're doing this in the studio. You're going all over the place. You're in Oxnard. You're on the 101 freeway. Like, you're in so many different places. And it's like, again, going back to this, it was like a full production. What was the meaning behind these particular locations that you chose? The mural was incredible as well. You know, why were they so important and impactful for this album, but also for this film?
That was a way for me to pull pieces of the LA County towards me, because when I grew up, I moved around a lot. For everybody out there that's moving out of their houses from home to home, school to school, it's hard, and I understand. And it does get easier in the future, because I used to live all around the LA County, Glendale, East Hollywood, Filipino Town, Palmdale. I lived in the Bay for a little bit. I have a family. My in-laws are in Oxnard. Okay. So all these places that I choose are places that hold a piece of me as much as I hold a piece of that place to my heart. And when I knew that if I put that in the video and the visuals, people from those communities can see that.
Yeah.
And it would shine a light towards where they live. And there's something about when you see home on the screen, you can't help but feel a little seen.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give that to the people in those communities. I have ties all over LA County. I worked a job where I'd drive all over the LA County and I'd see these places.
So you were scouting.
I was scouting as I was making the deliveries to the seafood cities. I'd be like, yo, that'd be a great place. That'd be a great place. Yeah, we made it happen.
Yeah, that's dope. It's I mean, if you guys haven't checked it out, you guys definitely have to head over to his YouTube channel and check it out. And listening to the album, you have a lot of different collaborations as well. Mm-hmm. But also, there's one particular character that sticks out a lot in a lot of the intros, a lot of the outros. I'm curious, like, what is it about this character? How did you come up with this character? Who is this character that you have on this album?
Those are the ancestors that are talking to us, and I wanted to kind of give them a voice. I don't know if you've watched Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No, I have not.
Okay, so for those of y'all that know what Avatar: The Last Airbender is, there's a character named Aang, the main character, and he's the avatar that is reincarnated every lifetime. And the way he reconnects with his past lifetimes is they all talk to him at the same time in one voice. Okay. And that related to me because there's a lot of unspoken and hidden emotions, and this can go for anyone that's not even just Filipino. This could even go for anyone that's come from an immigrant family. Yeah. You feel like those people are talking through you. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to materialize that in the music the way that I heard it in the Avatar. So when Kuya Marv's helped me make that happen, you'll hear it throughout the entire album, like you said, because you've listened to it. I wanted to put a voice to that. And it helps me think and validate a lot of my own feelings when I don't get that from the rest of the world. Yeah. So that was my way of saying, you know what, if I can't hear it from y'all, I'm going to hear it from them, hear it from myself. Let's put it all over the album.
Yeah, and that's a good point because, yeah, it's as long as you come from an immigrant family, it's things that you experience. We're going to dive in and talk about Doubts and I Refrain because those are the two that really stick out to me. Because of that same scenario, it's like your parents immigrated to a better world, right? Mm-hmm. For you to have a better future. Same with myself. And it's like the struggles of you wanting to pursue your own path, but then they're not okay with it because of everything. You know, basically what you guys have to listen to those two tracks and you'll understand the reason for this question. But that one was impactful. That one hit me like instantly because like it's something that I've gone through as well. And to this day, even though this has been successful, I still feel like I'm not at that level to where my parents were like, we worked our asses off, you know,
for you to be this.
Exactly.
Me too, yo. Me too, bro.
Exactly.
I completely understand that. You're not alone in there. So I'll start with I Refrain, of course. That started off with me writing a letter to my parents. And then I wrote one to me as if I was them. And the things that I feel like they want to tell me. Yeah. Because as children of our parents, we can, I'll speak for myself. I can kind of think what they're thinking and what they want to say, but they're not going to say it. Yeah. Because they know it would hurt me, but it hurts them because they don't say it. Yeah. So I wrote that letter for them, and then I transformed that whole letter to a rap, and I put it in the song. And what I wanted to avoid doing was trying to pinpoint who's right in the situation. If anything, I wanted to show how we're both right and how we also can both be flawed. Yeah. That dynamic between the parents and or immigrant parents and the second generation child that was born here or raised here. I didn't want to show anyone, hey, this side is right more than this side. I wanted to show there's just a gray area. This is what it is right now. Let's talk about it. Where can we go from here? Yeah.
You did have an opportunity to add another track for that, like a third part to that, and call it Bahala Ka sa Buhay Mo. Because I feel like that would have been like, I feel like that's also a common thing where it's like, especially with Filipino parents, it's like, I told you. Yep. You could have done this, Inak, but, you know, it's not happening.
Damn.
I'm putting some food for thought in there.
Yeah, this guy, you speak more Tagalog than me, man. Damn. Yeah, that was You hit it on the head. You hit it on the head right there. That song was very hard for me to write. It actually took me a year to write those letters to myself and from my parents. And also a combination of multiple Philam people that I talked to about their dynamics with their parents. And I added it all to mine. Because my parents, they're not the types to hold it against me and tell me this, and you should have done this. They were more silent about it and asking questions. Hey, when are you going to get a job? When are you going to go back to school? When are you going to get your insurance? Are you going? They did it in that way. They never berated me, fortunately. But I empathize with those that have parents like that. But I wanted to add everyone's piece of it in that song. So, yeah.
Let's dive in and talk about doubts, because that is also, you know, it goes back to I Refrain. Like, they're telling you these things, but now you're having your doubts. Like, did I ruin my career? Like, am I doing the right thing? So, you know, for you to open up in such a vulnerable way like that and kind of like retrospectively, like, kind of look into like what you're doing and is it working out, and like you're spending money on music videos, like you're doing, you know, like what was that process like for you? Like, was it easy thing to write? Was it something that was difficult for you to put to paper?
That actually wasn't difficult for me to write, only because that's what I'm thinking about all the time.
Yeah.
And those doubts are always going to be there no matter what level of success you reach. But instead of letting that dictate where we go, I try to ask myself the questions: what can I do to embrace this and help it, or have it help me navigate where I'm supposed to be going? Because our doubts usually lead us to the place that we're afraid to go.
Right.
So we got to ask ourselves, what are we afraid of that's making us doubt ourselves in that moment? Usually it's not that big of a deal, but we all grow up in our own circumstances and situations that make us formulate our own doubts that we might be scared to take that next step of whatever it is. But I'm sure you understand, and my team understands, I understand. When you get past those doubts and you look back and you think about how big that thing was, and looking back, it really wasn't that big of a thing because we've grown to the next step. But it wasn't hard to write that song at all. I can't even listen to it. That's the song I don't listen to the most in the album, because it takes me back to that place. Only. But I know people listen to it so they could relate and flesh out their feelings. But that's the only one I can't listen to. But the music is incredible.
It's so good.
The strings.
It's so good.
The keys. the everything about it. I'll turn the words off and I'll listen to the music.
Yeah.
But the words, I can't.
Damn.
It's hard. It's still hard.
That's insane, because it's like, imagine performing that live.
I don't think I've done it once. Damn. I've done it once.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem that I feel like you're gonna have with these two tracks, is that so many fans are gonna understand it and feel it so much that they're gonna want to hear it live. They're gonna want to experience it live.
Oh, you're right.
And I don't know if I'm prepping you or if I'm scaring you, but
no, you're planting the seed.
But I feel like this is one of those tracks, or both of these tracks are going to be one of those that are going to be fan favorites.
For sure. I can say I Refrain. I can perform more only because I've grown a lot more from that.
Yeah.
But Doubts is the one where maybe you're right. Maybe this is a doubt that I have.
Yeah.
Performing Doubts. Maybe I should look more into that.
But maybe this will help too, like, because it took me a long time to get out of that headspace of like those same kind of emotions and feelings and thoughts. But it's the reason why we're always doubting ourselves is because we're always evolving.
Right.
So yeah, you created this album, which is incredible, but you probably don't feel like it's incredible because you've just created another album that's even better than the last. Yeah. So it took me a while to understand that. And I was like, well, shit, like we're just never going to be satisfied because we're always evolving in our creative process and the things that we're doing. So maybe that could be a way to kind of think about it.
Which begs the question, when we continue to evolve, does that mean does doubt exist because we continue to evolve?
Man. Damn. That's
you made me realize that. don't you saying damn. Like, no, I just heard that from you. I got it from you, man.
But that's good though, because it's like, I don't know. We're just never gonna be satisfied.
Never.
No matter what we do, unless your thing is like money. Like I just want to make money, 6 figures. I made 6 figures. Good, I'm done.
Love yours.
But being a creative artist is so different because it's not about releasing songs. It's not about making that money. It's not about the tour. It's about being able to express yourself and being able to be heard by your audience and have them kind of understand what you're going through or have that same emotion that you're going through. So I feel like it's always going to be evolving for you as an artist.
Always. The day you stop evolving and growing is the day that you are no longer living.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. There you go. Good point. With this whole body of work, you have a few features on there. And I'm curious, like, what the importance of them are and, like, what was it like collaborating with these artists? Was it something that you got to do in the studio with them? Did you guys all do this separately? Like, what was that process like?
The first feature is David Ira, a Philam MC from San Diego. I got him on the project because he's the other Philam MC that has that same competitive edge. He comes from the same competitive cloth that I personally know of and am familiar with. And that's just me and him duking it out on the song.
Dope.
I got the better verse. I won. Just saying, David, you see this? Chief, what's up? And the next feature is Butterfly Gold, which is one of the people actually from 2017 that played the Philippine instruments for the PCN at FASA. We've been talking about working for the longest time since 2017, and it finally happened on that track. She played the sarunay. The third feature is Metaphoris, who is an MC from LA, Korean American. And he's also the same as me, where he comes from that competitive hip-hop lyrical edge. Nobody is as hip-hop as Metaphoris. I'm going to let y'all know right now. The next feature is Inara from I Refrain.
Yeah.
Who actually, during this time of the creation of the album, stopped making music. Damn. And then came back when I asked her to perform at the album concert anniversary show. And I got her on the track because she knows how to write very thought-provoking, deep, heart-clenching pieces.
Yeah.
And I knew she could relate to that song. And the last feature, Ate Jojo Nisalanga from the Bay, also from the PCN in 2017. She's just hype, and nobody's cooler than her. She had to be on Bulasan.
That's dope.
It's my big sister. It's cool.
That's dope.
5 features.
This whole thing just feels like just family. Like that's what it feels like. It's created with family, all going through the same kind of walks of life.
Yeah.
Experiences, everything. How do you step this up?
How did I set it up?
No, how do you step this up? How do you go even higher from what you've already created?
How do we go even higher? We take what we learned from the entire process of SILAB and we do it better.
Yeah.
I'd maybe give a sound that people wouldn't be used to me doing and continue living life, but in a more different perspective. Because SILAB, I was just going. And now that I'm in Seattle, I'm more chill and cool. It's giving me a lot more time to think and recalibrate how we could do this more efficiently. And we've begun that process already, so.
Dope. Do you feel like this album was the one that was like fully cultured and everything else will be completely off the culture? Or do you feel like the culture is still going to stick around with all the upcoming material?
I think the culture is always going to be sticking around in all the material I create. It's just a matter of how we could package it in different ways that keeps the sound and hip hop exciting.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the challenge, because when I entered SILAB, I didn't know how I was going to create the sound, let alone create the album.
Yeah.
But what I learned from that is that when I continue living life as genuinely and as authentically in my square as much as possible, the concepts and the ideas are going to come to me.
Yeah.
Always. And that's something I realized even before SILAB. Just concepts and ideas are always coming to me. It's just a matter of how can we make it happen now.
Yeah. One, I want to challenge you with an instrument that maybe it was on this track, but the bamboo for the tinikling. I feel like the tone of that bamboo is like so particular, so special, so soft. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a
Oh,
cool
we're ahead of you.
incorporation. Yes.
We're ahead of you.
There we go.
We're ahead of you.
There we go. All right. All right. I'm digging this.
Sometimes I feel like you're more Filipino than me, bro. For sure.
I'm digging this. I'm excited to hear that because, yeah, that was one thing that I was like, this would be, I mean, every time I see tinikling happen, like when we're at family events or whatever, like that sound is just so, I don't know. It
rings.
It rings
out.
so different. Yeah.
Yeah, you as a Filipino can understand. So
exactly.
Like, it brings something out of your soul for sure. It has been done before in a multitude of songs.
Yeah.
But I know,
but not Carl songs.
There's ooh. Can I drop this? Just kidding.
Go for it.
We can make it happen on a
go.
Carl song.
There we go. That is what I needed. That was the point of this whole interview.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Tinikling. That's it.
Well, I guess to close this off, man, congratulations with this entire project. It's I gotta say it's a masterpiece. Like you've done this, independently, and I don't feel like it happens too often like this to this level. So I'm excited to see like the growth and the evolution of you. You have a couple shows coming up. You have Seattle and then you have Hawaii.
Right.
What could your fans or your newfound fans like look forward to on these shows, and what are you looking forward to for these shows?
For these shows, look forward to the energy and the greatest Filipino rapper in the making.
Boom. Done. Now we drop it.
Oh!
All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and Carl in the studio. Congratulations, dude. You guys be sure to check him out. Listen to his new album, SILAB. Watch the full film on YouTube. And thanks for watching here on Front Row Live.
Keep the fire, respect the hustle.
Done.
Come on, man. Let's go.